flag is out and we're racing and off into turns 1 and 2. Steve Blair in car number 57 is the early race leader, with Tony Thomas in car number 89 dropping into second. Good battle at third. The number 3 of Terry Scott and the 27 of Ricky Thomas as they race down the front straightaway. Collect lap number 1. Down into turns 1 and 2. Steve Blair in car number 57, who earlier picked up a heat race victory here, is your race leader. Father Tom Gentile in car number 29 now comes to the inside of Ricky Thomas. The battle back at 5th place as our race leader collects lap number 2. Back into turns 1 and 2. Great side-by-side racing back at 6th place. Doug Richardson and Ricky Thomas, along with the 58 of Ken Johnson and Mark Mattingly. And that pack of cars moves into turns 3 and 4. Back into turns 1 and 2, and from about 6th place on back, they remain double stacked as these cars are among the top in the point standings, trying to work their way towards the front as they race out of turn number 4 and down the front straightaway, sometimes 3 abreast. Going into turns 1 and 2, and Nick Reed Jr. goes all the way to the top side, exiting turn number 2 and down the backstretch. Into turns 3 and 4 now. Down the front straightaway and into turns 1 and 2, and it's the number 57 of Steve Blair, your race leader. Tony Thomas in car number 89 now runs at second. Car number 3, Terry Scott, goes third. And the number 40 of Carl Hamlet up to fourth. Father Tom Gentile in car number 29 rounds out the top 5 as they move back into turns 1 and 2. 6 laps now completed. And it's Steve Blair by about 10 car lengths moving down into turns 3 and 4. Battle right now for 3rd place is Carl Hamlet in car number 40 shifts along the low side of Terry Scott. Nearly side by side out of turn number 2 and down the back straightaway. Trouble going into turns 1 and 2, and it's car number 82, and it looks like Dean Donahoe and the 00 got into it, and the yellow flag comes out. So the yellow flag coming out at lap number 8 for a multi-car accident down in turns 3 and 4 involving Doug Richardson and the 00 of Dean Donahoe. We've seen structural damage done to the front end of that white 00 of Dean Donahoe's machine. So 8 laps back racing again as the field comes out of turn number 4. The green flag is out, and we're off and racing again. Into turns 1 and 2 after 8 laps of competition. It's Steve Blair in car number 57, the early race leader as they move down the back straightaway. Tony Thomas in car number 89 up along the outside, and then it's Carl Hamlet and then Terry Scott in car number 3 as they race down the front straightaway and back into turns 1 and 2. Car number 29, Father Tom Gentile. Now at 5th place, he's challenged on the outside by the number 200 of Mark Mattingly as they race back into turns 3 and 4 and down the front straightaway. 10 laps now completed. And again, watching that battle at the number 5 position, Mark Mattingly and Father Tom. Here comes Nick Reed Jr. in car number 21 up along the outside, moving down into turns 3 and 4. And now Steve Blair is challenged on the inside by the number 89 of Tony Thomas into turns 1 and 2. With Carl Hamlet in car number 40 right there as well. They'll move out of the second turn and down the back straightaway. Down into turns 3 and 4. And there's trouble at the end of the back straightaway. Mike Asbury and it looks like Doug Miller. Whoa, one car getting hit head on. It was Dennis Gibson and Billy Askew, the 079 of Dave Parsons. As the field moves down the back straightaway and down into turns 3 and 4. And it looks like the red flag is out. The red flag coming out for debris on the racetrack down in turns 3 and 4 when several cars got together. It looks like it was Billy Askew in car number 108 who sustained a lot of damage. Dennis Gibson in car number 72. And I believe the number 8 of Doug Miller's machine was also somehow into that. But the red flag slowly out of turn number 4. Chris Fisher will send them around one more lap. They will go around one more lap now. We have a new race leader, and it will reflect that on the scoreboard as soon as the race gets restarted. The number 57 of Steve Blair will inherit the lead back because of the absence of car number 89. And here comes Tony Thomas out of the pit area. But because he was not on the track at the time the officials lined the field back up, he has given up the lead position. So Steve Blair will be the leader on the restart, with Carl Hamlet lining up alongside of him at second. Out of turn number 4, and the green flag is out, and we're back to racing action. And back into turns 1 and 2 they go. Down the back straightaway, it's Steve Blair in car number 57, the race leader. Car number 3, Terry Scott, up along the inside of Carl Hamlet for second place as they battle down the front straightaway. Back into turns 1 and 2. And down the back straightaway, Carl Hamlet in car number 40 now shoots to the inside of Steve Blair. Blair gets a little bit sideways, turns the car a little sideways up in turn number 4, and tries to hold on to the lead as they race back into turns 1 and 2. One car in trouble. It's Doug Miller here on the front straightaway, and Alan Williams Jr. collects him going into the first turn. And it looks like it brings out the red at lap number 13, and again it looks like Steve Blair collided with the number 058 of Kelly Smith up in the third and fourth turn area. So a lot of cars getting torn up here over these past couple of laps. And the attrition rate continues to mount in this 25-lap feature event for the Dial 1 Oval Bobber Division. Just one lap short of the scheduled halfway point. Field down for the start. Terry Scott in car number 3 on the outside of that front row at second place. The 21 of Nick Reed Jr., Mark Mattingly, on the second row. And the green flag is back out, and we're back to racing action. Into turns 1 and 2, and down the back straightaway, it's Carl Hamlet who goes back out front. Terry Scott in the number 3 at second, now challenged on the inside by Nick Reed Jr. as they exit turn number 4 and down the front straightaway. Back into turns 1 and 2, now 13 laps completed, just over the halfway point. The battle's at second right now. Nick Reed Jr. in car number 21 up along the inside of Terry Scott in the number 3. Mark Mattingly at fourth place. Chris Hildebrand now moves in, takes over fifth as they move down the front stretch and back into turns 1 and 2. The battle still at second place as it's Nick Reed Jr. from Pleasure Ridge Park, Kentucky. Edgewood, Kentucky's Terry Scott on the outside. Carl Hamlet still your race leader as they scream down the front straightaway and back into turns 1 and 2. One car slowing here on the front straightaway, Doug Stone in car number 59, and he looks like he'll pull it down to the infield. Field moves out of turn number 4 and down the front straightaway as Nick Reed Jr. Goes high and to the outside, trying to get around Carl Hamlet into turns 1 and 2. That's the battle for the lead right now after 16 laps of competition, and the field moves down the back straightaway. Carl Hamlet right back to the inside of Nick Reed Jr. trying to take the lead away, but it's Nick Reed who has the lead moving into turns 1 and 2. Into turns 1 and 2 now. The number 40 of Carl Hamlet now at second place. Mark Mattingly, car number 200, moving in on Terry Scott to battle for third as they move into turns 3 and 4 and down the front straightaway. Back into turns 1 and 2. 18 laps now completed. Tony Hebron, along with the number 85 of Alan Williams Jr. now approach the top 5, along with Dean Donahoe as they race down into turns 3 and 4. And it looks like there's trouble once again. Dave Parsons in the 079 getting turned around in the third and fourth turn. If he'll bring that car back across the racetrack, we can avoid a caution flag period as we race down into turns 3 and 4. Out of turn number 4, it's still Nick Reed Jr. out front. The number 40 of Carl Hamlet at second. Terry Scott continues to run at third, although being challenged on the inside by the number 200 of Mark Mattingly as they race down into turns 3 and 4. Down the front straightaway, once again, they click off lap number 21, and we're 4 away from a finish. And once again, we have that bottleneck back at third place with Mark Mattingly on the inside of Terry Scott as they race out at turn number 4 and down the front straightaway. Back into into turns 1 and 2. 22 laps now completed. It's Nick Reed Jr. in car number 21, your race leader. The number 40 of Carl Hamlet now at second. Mark Mattingly and the number 3 of Terry Scott going third and fourth as they come down the front straightaway and back into turns 1 and 2. Less than 2 laps to go, and the field moves down the back straightaway. Nick Reed Jr. in car number 21, the race leader. Carl Hamlet still at second. Mark Mattingly goes third, and the white flag is out. Less than 1 lap to go. And down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. Nick Reed Jr. in car number 21 moves out of the fourth turn and collects the checkered flag. Carl Hamlet for second, Mark Mattingly for third, followed by Tony Heverin in the number 65. And close finish there for 5th place.